Hello, welcome back. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Nicholas Gregorio. I'm gonna talk about a movie today, which is not something that I usually do. I usually talk about video games, mainly more recently on the DS or relating to Nintendo games, but we're not doing that today. For those who don't already know, I have an affinity for detective stories, and Kosuke Kindaichi is no exception. Kosuke Kindaichi is often cited as being a Japanese Sherlock Holmes, but I think he's much closer to being Japan's answer to Columbo. But even then, this is a character that has existed long before Columbo, but his stories haven't really been accessible outside of Japan until much more recently. One of those being the Inugami Curse, which is the source material for the movie I'm going to talk about today. Now, the Inugami Curse, the book itself, is written by Seishi Yokomizo. If you're a fan of Japanese period pieces or just finding a story to scratch that Columbo itch, I highly recommend this book. I think it's Yokomizo's best book, and I haven't read all of them. I've read all the ones that are available in English, and I think this is the best one. And I think the consensus is, even in Japan, that the Inugami Curse is the best Yokomizo book. It's just a well-structured mystery. It's got the best cast of characters. It's just an all-around chilling yet cozy murder mystery. And everything that I loved about this book is only enhanced by its movie adaptation, The Inugami Family.
何か変わったことがあるんですか、その遺言状に。
これで疑いは晴れましたか。
遺言状に関係のある欠点者は9人に限られている。あの生首はあったね。謝礼に絡む揉め事でも起こったのか。
The story of the Inugami family is considered a classic in Japan, as it's a story that's been remade and retold so many times, but what stands to be the most iconic adaptation is the 1976 film directed by Kon Ichikawa, starring Koji Ishizaka as the scruffy detective Kosuke Kindaichi.
いや、それがね、どうなのかな。
Many actors have portrayed Kindaichi on screen and on stage before this movie came out, but Ishizaka's performance is the first to really capture the essence of the same character that's described in the books. Past iterations would portray Kindaichi as a more hard-boiled gumshoe donning a fedora, closer to Sam Spade and, other detectives of that nature. When in the books, he's described as this unassuming PI in a scrappy kimono and a haircut described as a rat's nest on top of his head and a crumpled felt hat. I also find him to be a very likable character because he's this very unconventional take on the detective role you often see in most mystery stories. Another thing to note is that he's also got a serious case of dandruff and a stutter that comes out whenever he's excited or nervous, which just adds to the charm of his character.
そうですか。いや、助かりました。若林さんに死なれて宿の支払いなんかどうしようかと思ってたんですよ。
But enough about Kindaichi as a character. What about the movie? The Inugami family follows the death of this wealthy patriarch and the bloodshed that follows his family after his passing. The will of this patriarch is not to be read until all members of the family return home, and when the will is eventually read, everyone learns that the entire family's assets are to go to some girl who isn't even part of the Inugami clan. If this sounds like Knives Out, it's because it does, but this also came out way before that movie, so... Anyway, this movie has not left my mind since I first watched it earlier this year. And as we enter the fall season, I wish now more than ever that I could have this movie on Blu-ray for me to just put on after work and to also fall asleep to, because as I've said, I find it very cozy. I think this movie succeeds in creating a period piece that is tragic yet undeniably comforting, because it's not scary, it's not gory either. But it is kind of spooky. It is kind of chilling and kind of creepy at times. one of the family members who is returning from World War II. His whole face has been burnt beyond recognition, and he has to don like this whole like creepy white mask that I think adds to the, like, I don't know, the off-kilterness. Is that a word? It adds to the story's off-kilter nature. I think I'm gonna go with that. But something else that is undeniably charming about this movie are the performances. And I think that is something that is so specific to this 1976 adaptation, because, you know, as I said, this is a story that's been remade and retold so many times, and there are other movies that have adapted this story, but this cast of performances is just so strong. And I already talked about Koji Ishizaka's performance as Kendaichi. The rest of the cast is also just so iconic in each role that they play. Anyways, the Inugami Family is a perfect murder mystery that I find cozy for the fall season that we are about to enter, which is why I want to talk about today. After the Inugami Family, Kon Ichikawa went on to make 6 of these Kendaichi films, which are all pretty good, but I don't know if any of the others reach the same highs as the Inugami Family. A lot of the same cast members do return to play other roles, and I think that in itself is fun. But this story of the Inugami Family, it's just the best. It's just the best one. Something weird I do want to bring up is that one of the films that Ichikawa went on to make was actually a remake of this very film. He remade his own movie and even brought back half of the original cast members, including Koji Ishizaka, to play an older grandpa Kendaichi, which I will admit is a very charming performance to see. I watched this version and I thought this was the weirdest thing ever because of how many filmmakers remake their own movie beat for beat down to the same exact line delivery and gags that were in the original.
別々の人間がハサミとナタを使用したとも考えられますね。
You hear the word remake today and the first thing that comes to mind is like, oh, it's to make more money. I don't think that's the case for the 2006 remake of the Inugami Family. After rewatching the remake, I came to my own conclusion that it's just a guy making movies with his friends, and I think that's how he wanted to make his final movie. And yeah, this was his last movie before he passed away, like in 2008. Anyway, the Inugami Family is an iconic murder mystery movie, and it's one that I hope gets officially translated and released outside of Japan someday. As of right now, there is a Blu-ray 4K collector's edition or whatever that exists in Japan that does have English subtitles, but if you wanted to import that, it costs like upwards of $100. Maybe one day. No, that's too much. But yeah, I'd say check this movie out if you're interested, but it is one of those movies that you kind of have to like search for online if you really want to watch it. And that's all I'll say about that. I love Kosuke Kendaichi's stories, even if a lot of them are just okay. I just find an immense amount of comfort in this, you know, wacky, unconventional detective character and, you know, his saga. Other than that, hope you're well. Hope everything's going all right. And if you want to hear me talk about more movies or more things that are not video game related, let me know. I do have a Letterboxd. I used to not use Letterboxd, but now I do, just because I'm trying to track the movies that I'm watching. So yeah, if you want to follow me on there and see what I thought about Karate Kid's Legends, go ahead and follow me there. Spoiler alert, I did not think it was good. So yeah, that's all I have for today. Trying something different, trying something new. Yeah, that's all I got. Goodbye.